Hello, this is Allie Hoops from What the Flow, and I'm going to do a video on how to sew a wick onto a fire fan. This video I'm making for Montana. That's Bronx's girlfriend. I met them at Tennessee Ember, and we talked about sewing fan wicks, and these are her fans. So I promised to teach her how, and here we go. So you're going to take your wick and feed it through the fan loop and fold it over. Now that fold over, you're going to sew back and forth and secure just like this. This is what we call a contact point. This ensures your wick can't fly off the end of your fan. So the next thing you're going to do is wrap your wick in circles around that. Now you're going to get about 6 inches from the end and you're going to fold that end over. That creates a nice crisp line like you see here on this wick. So create that fold and then finish that wrap. Now, the next thing you're going to do is tighten the wick. This is going to make it easier to sew in the long run and keep your wick from spinning in place. Now, be careful when you do this with a fan. If they have thinner supports, it might twist. So what you need to do is hold that with one hand, hold the wick with the other, and crank it like you're trying to crank a Harley. All right, if you feel the metal start to turn, stop. That's good. Now hold it in place and you're gonna need dun-dun-dun-dun, hairband or a rubber band, but something that creates a good amount of tension so that you don't lose your tightness. Tight is right. All right, we've got that nice and secure. Now the next thing you're gonna need is some needle and thread. Now what we do is quadruple the thread like you see here. And the reason we do that is because we're sewing through Kevlar. It's really thick, guys, and we're going to light it on fire. So we're going to use Kevlar thread because our wicks are Kevlar. You don't want to use cotton thread. It'll burn fast and a lot faster than your wick does. So what you do is you're going to take this and stretch it your full arm's length. You can't really see it on this camera, but I'm going the whole arm's length, guys. Then you're going to grab up. This creates the bite or the end of the string, or the middle actually, sorry, not the end. We're going to keep pulling, leave that there. You're going to take your bite or the middle of your string and thread it through your needle. All right, now we got a loop on one end. We're going to walk that down till we get to the end. Dun, 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 dun. I like to make mine really long because I don't want to have to do this more than once per wick. Period. End of story. So you get to the end, you're going to cut, spin, and tie it in a knot. I forgot to bring scissors for this video, so there we go. No scissors, thread breaks. Now you see why we quadruple thread it. All right, now, next thing you're going to need is a pair of neoprene gloves. It's like $7 at a hardware store, guys, and let me tell you, without it, you will not have the endurance in your hand to make a fan in one evening. Your thumbs will be bleeding. This helps you grip the needle so that you don't need a thimble. Because guys, if you've never sewn a wick, Kevlar is thick. It's like throwing through 10 layers of denim at once on the seam line. So the way you first start sewing is you take this top little flap and you're going to go up and in on the back side. This hides your knot where it's going to fold down and over. Now, the most important thing to remember when you're sewing a wick is you do not want your thread to show. If I do a nice long stitch over the top like this and go in over here, this thread is going to burn before the rest of my Kevlar and it will unravel. So you have to go back in the same hole on the outside of the wick. So let me angle so you can see. Here's where I came out. It is the same place that I will go back in, but my exit will be at a different location. So you want to use a curved needle. I got these at Walmart. They come in packs of 4. Use the big ones, not the little ones. And you're going to stab all the way through to another side. See that nice curve? That creates a good solid contact point through the middle of the wick. That's going to tag that. Got my finger. down nice and tight. Special note, if you're not used to sewing, not everybody has sewing skills. When you thread through and start pulling, you do not just want to hold the end of your needle and pull. If you do, it creates a lot of friction right here at your bite, and your thread will snap before you're ready. So go ahead, pull it in arm's length, stop, reach down, tighten. You want to ensure that that little bitty loop of thread goes into the wick and doesn't show. No thread showing means no wicks unraveling. So you're just going to go in and tack all around the top. I've got that little thing down, so I'm going to rotate my fan a little bit. I'm going to sew through and come out somewhere else. You're just going to basically go through the middle and to an end over and over. So you're going to go in the same hole, come out somewhere else, and keep going around this top. The top part of your fan wick is going to take the most damage. When you drop it, this is going to get hit on the concrete or the ground the most. So this part needs to be sewn the tightest. It's the number one place it's going to take damage. Go in, come out, and just keep going around, guys, and tightening it down. I would say a good 10, probably a good 10 passes or so will do good. You'll know you've done it right when you can't pull this down very much. It's nice and secure, it's tight. Go in, come out. Dun, dun, dun. So we've sewn the top of the wick, and we've also gained a visitor. This is Carbon. He is a magnificent mouser in my house. I love him dearly. He is my roommate's kitty. And he is here as we go down the center seam. So now that we've sewn the top, we're going to go back and forth down this line. Easy in, easy out. All right. So you're going to stab from out here back in through this fold over part. Again, tightening each time. So we keep that Kevlar nice and tight and down. We're going to go back and forth, going down the wick. Make sure you capture a good bit of it as you go in. I normally use 5 to 7 stitches. It gets a little tricky right around the hairband because you don't want to sew into the hairband and lock it up. But I've done this first part here, so now it's secure enough I can remove the band. Hold on, we're going to untangle the needle off camera. Technical difficulties. Hashtag camera problems. Meh. All right, here we go. We're going to go back in again and zigzag down. So I've went to the halfway. I'm going to pull it down a little bit more. In, go down. You're going to go back and forth a little bit because you want to make sure you put several stitches in to that drop. Because again, the outside of the wick is going to take the most damage when you drop it, especially on concrete. Dun, 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 dun. In, out. This will be our last one. And now we're going to go into the bottom of the wick. Flip it upside down, guys. Makes your life easier. All right. So down here, we're going to do exactly like we did in the top. Over and through. Come out, pull. This is where these gloves save you a lot of time and frustration. You have the dexterity and the grip to just get and pull. So another tip, move the fan instead of moving the needle. Now you'll notice this stitch is actually going through the center of the wick. I'm ensuring I'm hitting that contact point again. I want to really bring the two sides of my wicks together. Pay attention to where your lines are for that. Otherwise, you're going to be hitting metal. If you do hit metal, guys, instead of sitting there and forcing a needle that's sticking, if you go in and it just will not go no matter what you're doing, back up, or roll down, either one, and then push through again until you find some traction. It should not feel like something you need to grab pliers and push through. And I've seen videos where people do use pliers for this. That is an option. I find using my bare hands to be a lot faster than to use a tool to do it for me. It is for me. To each their own. There's more than one way to sew a wick. So in and out, in and through. Let's pull it through that contact point again. Got another secure one. We're going to need about 4 or 5 more stitches and then we'll be done. And I'll show you how to tie it off. All right, guys, it's time to tie off your knot. What you're going to do is loop your finger so you don't lose it. You're going to stab from the top where you're on an inside knot. Stab down like normal. Again, we don't show our threads, so go back up through the same hole and try and come up at the same place. I'm a little off there. Let me go back and adjust. Okay, there we go. I'm up close to the same hole. You're going to take your thread and do a twist, and then you're going to thread over that needle. I suggest coming down here and pulling first on this string. You're going to feed this up and out, and that's going to tighten, and when you tighten, it's going to drive that knot down into the wick. And then all you have to do is cut it off, and you've got a sturdy wick. Montana, these are coming to you. Love you.